Oi, oi, hello and welcome to another GG.CO.UK trends video, again kindly sponsored by Boyle Sports. Now, this is one of the races of the season. As far as I'm concerned over fences, there's only the Cheltenham Gold Cup that surpasses this. It's a race that is worth a hell of a lot of money too. £250,000 prize ball. Ladbrokes are the sponsors at the moment, but 143,000 or just shy of is the prize money for first place. We've had some multiple winners of this race in the past. I think there's 15 in total that have run this race more than once. Calto Star and Desert Orchid have won it 5 times each. Now, whether we get that or not this year with Hewitt running is yet to be seen, because it might be that he goes for another engagement over Christmas, probably over hurdles, but who knows? Brave Man's Game could be back. Whatever happens in this race, it's going to be a tremendous renewal. Bit more open this year because, like I say in some of these videos, the trends will only get you so far and form will take us to a certain point. Now, on that note, we did the December Gold Cup trends where I talked about Gemarand and Guard Your Dreams as the biggest trend tickers. Gemarand was backed in and did get the better of Madara, and Guard Your Dreams snuck into 4th place, 25 to 1 in that video. That's not me necessarily blowing the trumpet and after timing, but you can go back and look at those because these trends pieces can be very informative for pattern type races. So the December Gold Cup at Cheltenham would be a very pattern type race. Same as when we get to the spring festivals, they'll be crucial to help. Whereas when it comes to a grade 1 such as this, you've either got horses that are flying and they're going to be short priced and fancied. Think back a few years ago when Thistlecrack won this as a novice. He would be a massive outlier on all the trends, other than the fact that he won sort of status type races. But we do get some renewals as well, especially in recent years, where horses may have fluffed their lines and it makes it more and more open. I don't think anything is more true than this year for that. So I'm going to run through the betting quickly and then we'll talk about the key trends that will help us find the winner potentially for the King George. There's a curious one in there to do with market position as well, which I'll talk about, but there will be a link in the description for the article when that's published and up, so you can go and see that too, which does help. I talk in detail for each of the different brackets, whether it's age, rating, ranks, course distance form, just chase distance form, graded success, just lots of like depth in there, but I'm sort of paraphrasing in this video if you like. Anyway, to the betting for Boyle Sports, we've got 7-2 Grey Dawning, 3-1 Spillane's Tower yet to be supplemented. That stage comes on the 20th of December. This video is being recorded on the 15th, so Friday in a few days time, we will know who's definitely going. I think they're on sort of a weather watch for it, but we'll see confirmations and then we'll get the final decks a little bit closer to the final. Then we've got Corbett's Cross next in the betting at 5-1, Envoy Elan at 7-1, Banbridge at 15-2, La Presse 9-1, Ile Francais 8-1, so I should have done that in number order. Hewitt's 10-1, he could have another engagement over in Ireland, potentially over hurdles as well. We touched on that a little bit before. Brave Man's Game's 18-1, Protectorat's 25-1, and it's 33-1 bar those. Now, we have had some big priced winners in recent years. That's where we'll talk about one of the trends that's in here. So look, the key trends, tick the boxes for a King George type winner. We'll see different pieces with ages and things like that as well, but there's a fairly even spread with some of those. Again, I talk about it in the article, so you can go and check that out. But with the age side of things, between 6 and 9-year-olds have been pretty much all the winners, bar a couple of 11-year-olds, which have happened not this last 10 running, so this last decade, I would say it has. Curiously, 10-year-olds just haven't won. Especially this century, and then there's been one 5-year-old that's run. There's been a handful of 12-year-olds, but 10-year-olds do have a negative in there. So that would be a factor to take into consideration with age, but it's not really going to whittle the field down other than rule out 10-year-olds. Again, with some of these trends, you could say to yourself, maybe we're due one. Are you a half glass full or a half glass empty? Price is another interesting one, but again, towards where you would think it to be. We've had 46% of favourites, so 11 of the 24 this century have been favourites. 30% in the last 10 have been favourites. So there has been a change, but when you've got horses like Calto Star that were coming back and smashing this race up, it's obviously a bit more expected that those favourites would go and win it. If you just backed favourites blind this century, you'd have made 94p, so £1 off of your total outlay. So it wouldn't be the worst way to spend Christmas, like Boxing Day, sorry, if you just bet the favourite blind. There were 9 winners that were priced 6-4 or shorter, which shows like a couple of pound profit. So the shorties are most likely to be the ones that will make you a bit of money, but we probably won't have that this year, so almost a moot point talking about it. Top 3 in the betting is accounted for 75% of the winners this century and 60% of the last 10. Curiously, now this is an interesting stat which we'll talk about, 3 of the last 6 winners held the title of 7th in the betting, and it would have been a £54 profit just backing those ones blind. So with a bigger field in here, we are going to have at least 7 runners in there, so you would get something ranked 7th in there. It might be one of those, again, if you're not really form study or that way inclined and you just want to have a little token interest because it's the King George and you're watching this at Christmas for something to do, backing 7th in the betting might not be the worst thing to do, rather than just sticking a pin in it. Of course, the caveat with that is you've got to wait right till the off to know who would be ranked 7th in the betting. But like I said, it's a curious stat, but it's been mad the last few years. Maybe it's due to have a bit of a change. Of course, class comes into prevalence here. Every win has been rated 160 plus. There have been 5 runners that didn't actually have an official rating. The only one that could have been on the cusp would have been Kicking King, but he would have definitely been above it, I think. Most winners as well have been over 170 rated. When you've got the likes of Thistle Crack in there, Kicking King twice, Florida Pearl and First Gold that all came over without an official rating or all came into this race without a technical official rating on the BHA handicapping. Most of those would have been over sort of 170 pushing, or at least pushing that anyway. So basically you want to be over 160. Again, that's not going to whittle the field down particularly. And although 170 horses have been winning in the past, more recently, I think it's most of the last 7, I think all of the last 7 have not had an official rating higher than 169. So 160 to 170 is about the band, but again, that's not really whittling it down. Look, I'm going to go back and just tell you the key bullet point trends for this so we can not necessarily just wrap this video up, but you can read the article if you want to go into depth with all the other pieces in there. So what we're saying it is, they must have an official rating of at least 160. Again, not going to really whittle the field down too much, but it might rule out a couple of the outliers, the big priced horses that, you know, you might want to try and make a case for, but I want to say you shouldn't do it. Obviously, do what you want to do. Must have already won a grade 1. That is key. The only horse this century that didn't was Clan de Zobo, a 6-year-old. The only 6-year-old that could be in here would be Spillane's Tower. He has won a grade 1, so I'm happy to say that. You must have already won a grade 1. Lots of horses have won multiple as well, but we don't need to worry about that. Likely to be aged between 6 and 9 and not a 10-year-old. I talked about that in the age at the start. Probably will be in the top 3 in the betting or 7th in the betting. I wanted to give you a little bit of a talk about the specific betting angle because just saying that as a line seems a little bit strange and you might ask questions. So we covered that. So they should have run in the last 60 days as well. This is quite a key one. And a bonus if they were a winner last time out. So most horses have, I think, La Homme Presse and potentially Jungle Boogie would be the only ones that would run outside the 60 days. So again, not really going to whittle it down, but it helps to see. If British trained, they should have already run at Kempton. And if they've already run there, or if they've already run there more than once, they should have at least won there. So look, that's a bit of a mouthful for me to even say. But if they're British, if they're like British trained runner, you'd expect they would have run at Kempton. If they have already run at Kempton, or they haven't run at Kempton, so just 1 run or no runs, then it's fine for them not to have won. If they've run at Kempton 2 times or more, they should have won at Kempton. Now, Q Card ran there 3 times and didn't win 3 times, didn't win in any of those 3 starts, and then did win a King George. So, like I say, it's a bit of a mouthfully one, but basically, if you're looking at a British trained runner and they've run at Kempton 2 or more times, they should have a win at Kempton. But if they haven't been to Kempton, it's not the end of the world, all right? Should have won at least 40% of their races, and ideally, or really, they should have 5 chase wins. So look, that's going to be a stat that's probably going to throw the spanner in the works for a couple towards the head of the betting, but that is a stat that's been prevalent, although in the last few years, we've had a few horses that haven't met that target, but they have been bigger prices. So look, wouldn't be the most essential as we've worked further down the trends, but still worth bearing in mind. As I say, there'll be a link in the description to the article as soon as it's published on the website. That should be up there Monday morning. So if you're watching this early, then you might not see it on there. But if not, you will. There will be a link in it there where you can read a little bit more detail. It's going to be a fantastic renewal. So let me know in the comments which horse you think will win the King George of 2024. If you've got any other Christmas fancies that you want to throw in the comments to help everybody else out as well, let us know that too. We'll be back on Thursday with a weekend watch covering the weekend's action. And I think we've got a bonus weekend watch to cover you over the Christmas period too. Best of luck. Have the best Christmas with your family and enjoy the breaks if you do manage to take a little bit of time off. There is a real busy period when it comes to the horse racing, but don't feel FOMO. Don't feel any pressure to do anything. Just enjoy the racing as it is. And then before you know it, it will be the new year. And before you know it again, it will be Cheltenham and the other big spring festivals. Look, lots of water to go under the bridge before then. But as I say, enjoy your Christmas, enjoy the King George, and we will see you again very soon.